Hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome to another edition of On the Links Live, presented by Nexicom. Forced inside today, I'm Pete Dalladay, but Carl Lawson in the beautiful north end of Peterborough. Looks like he's okay. Looks like he's covered there from any sort of bad weather. Good morning, Carl. How you doing, pal?
I'm good. Good, Pete. How you doing, pal?
Well, good. I was hoping to be outside today on the new On the Links Live set outside.
Uh-huh.
But and I probably could have, but the seats were wet and the table was wet, and I didn't feel like wiping it down. So it's all good, man. We were due for this. We needed probably a little rain, to be quite honest with you, right?
Yeah, we did. We've had pretty good summer of rain, but it's been pretty good the last couple of weeks. I was able to get a couple of games in, so
Yeah.
that was always nice. Yeah.
Awesome. Sounds good. Coming up on today's show, got a special treat. We're going to go out east to Charlottetown, one of your favorite stops, Carl, and talk to Nick Fridler, or Frid, the Fridler, as he's known to his golfing pals. But Nick's got a great podcast out there. And we're going to be checking in with him in just a little bit. They've got some crappy weather out there, too, going this past week. But the Mackenzie Tour and our buddy Rob Leth was out there this past week. And so Rob hooked us up with the Fridler. So we're looking forward to joining him in a second, Carl. But you got your leaderboard? What's going on? Some money up for grabs today.
Yeah, well, the FedEx Cup will have a new winner this sometime today, Pete.
Yeah.
It's kind of a two-man horse race right now. Patrick Cantlay at -20 over John Rahm, so it's kind of fitting. They're 1 and 4 respectively at the top of that FedEx leaderboard. So they got a pretty big gap on the field. I think the closest next is Thomas at 5 back. So. Yeah, it should be, one or the other. I think Patrick Cantlay has the best shot, but John Rahm, if anybody could shoot a 65 today, that would be no surprise, obviously.
Yeah.
So looking forward to that one. John Rahm shot 2 65s in a row, to put himself in this position, 2 back. So that'll make an interesting story. And Patrick Cantlay, his story is really putting. He finished yesterday on 18 with a 25-foot putt. So he's been doing that for 2 or 3 tournaments over the last few weeks. So it's funny, how we talk about it every year. If it's not a Justin Thomas, it's a Patrick Cantlay. A guy that we've seen hanging. We see his name on the leaderboard the last few years, but then he has been hot. Super hot. So I like either one of them. I like John Rahm. So $10 million to the winner piece, Pete, and a total purse of $46 million to be split today amongst 30 players, including Corey Connors, who at last check was tied for 21st on that money list. So it's going to be a great year for Corey, one way or the other.
Oh, yeah. There's no tag days required for Corey Connors, who ironically 5 years ago, was it 5 or 6? It may have been 6. It just came up on my Facebook memories. I was able to play out at Wildfires, in the Mackenzie Tour. I don't know what it was called back then. I forget. But with Corey Connors. And I say with him, he was in the same tournament. And I was playing as a amateur, obviously, and shot about 94. But whatever. It doesn't matter. I was in the same event as Corey Connors, and here he is on this Sunday playing for millions. Anyway, he had an okay day yesterday. He's got to get her going today, maybe get up in that 10th spot, 11th spot with a good day if he goes low. But what a season he's had. It's been fun to watch. So anything else on the leaderboard, Carl?
Well, I think it's hard to not have a Sunday show and not talk about Bryson DeChambeau, who it seems every week this year,
but he's not on the leaderboard, so,
No, but you know what? He's not, but he's still
he was.
He's still pretty high up. I think he's number 3 in FedEx points. But it's just like you say, he makes the news. Yesterday was driving a ball down the wrong fairway, out of view of the TV cameras. They had hundreds of people out there searching for a ball, and then it turns out that a video captured a young fan who picked it up and put it in his pocket. So they had never seen it before. So
Funny.
based on the evidence, they gave him a free drop.
Yep.
So there was that. And then, of course, there's a new rule, the Bryson DeChambeau rule for heckling, which, I've talked to you a few times this year about, I don't like it. I didn't like it if it's DeChambeau or who it is. I don't really care for, the heckling on the golf course. So that new rule came into effect. So that's interesting. So again, Bryson making news.
Yeah, if you could let my playing partners, my regular group know about the heckling, I would appreciate that, because I got heckled pretty good this past week at the Crime Stoppers tournament. So anyway, there is your leaderboard, brought to you by Dion Jamidi, award-winning realtor. And remember when we said Dion was number one?
Yes.
Officially, he is number one. Look at that for August. Number one, beat out his brother, who came in at number 8. Not hard to tell they're brothers, but congratulations to Dion. That's awesome stuff. And we congratulate him and thank him for his support here on the links. So if you're thinking about selling, buying, whatever, contact Dion. All right, Carl. Yeah.
I have some hole-in-one news, but we can save that for later in the show, whatever you want to do.
Yeah, let's save it for later in the show, because I heard there was a big hole-in-one at Pinecrest yesterday, and it came on a par 4. So we'll save that one. But time to get to our first guest here from the Island Green podcast out in Charlottetown, PEI. We're very pleased to welcome to the show the Friddler, ladies and gentlemen. And what I'm going to do here, Carl, I'm just going to remove you for a half a second, then add you back in so we can get a rose between two thorns here on the screen.
Yes. Yeah.
Hey, Nick, how you doing? Good morning.
What's going on, boys? Hey, Uncle Carl. What's going on?
That's good. How you doing?
Good, man. Enjoying
Uncle Carl's knowing coast to coast, obviously.
Oh yeah, he's infamous out here.
Carl, you spent a little time on the East Coast traveling, I guess, with your jobs over the years and with your bands that traveling and stuff like that, have you?
Yeah, I was lucky. I've been down obviously Blue Rodeo plays down there quite a bit, but my favorite was my trip with the Sadies opening for the Tragically Hip at is it Mile 1 Center in St. John's?
Mile 1 in St. John, yep.
Yeah, that was George Street night. They don't get any better than that.
Not many people make it back from George Street, so you're one of the lucky few.
Absolutely.
Well, thanks for joining us, Nick. How long have you been doing the podcast there in Charlotte?
We started it in January, so we're like 31 weeks in, episode 30, and we've done one every week. So,
wow. Should we tell him, Pete?
What's that?
He's got a bit of catching up to do.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, but we took a break though for a few years. Though,
yeah. It's sort of.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah.
When you talk about it in episode numbers, episode 30, we're like, this is nothing. But then you're like, 30 weeks is a substantial amount of time. And then
it is. Yeah.
You hear some other episodes. Episode 231, you're like, oh my God, it's like 4 years worth of episodes.
No, 30 is great. And you know what? It's tough to do every single week, and you got to come up with guests and content, and you got to find the time, and you're busy. You have kids, and it's an accomplishment, and congratulations, because no one knows better than us. No one's getting rich off this. I mean, no one's getting rich off a Canadian golf podcast, but it's helping, I think, at the end of the day, just grow the game a little bit. Give some exposure to golf clubs and players that perhaps need a little boost, and that's why we do it. I mean, the odd free game of golf is nice, and looks like you get free Shricks on hats, which we don't, but that's okay. We'll work on that. We need to get to know the Shricks on rep.
Oh, I can connect you. Jared Konecki's a great guy. And that's the whole part is, a lot of golf podcasts, they talk about PGA Tour and Canadian Tour and Corn Ferry and all that. We do talk about it a little bit, but we talk about Atlantic Coast, our PEI amateur, New Brunswick, Nova Scotia amateur golf, club players from around the area that play really well in their tournaments. And I mean, like you said, growing the game wise, I mean, someone hears their name on a podcast, it makes them feel great, and so we do a bit of the pro golf, but a lot of it is just kind of around based on the East Coast,
which is the home of some great golf. Yeah, go ahead, Carl.
I was just going to say that's been my favorite thing about doing it over the years is that we've got to highlight lots of local juniors, seniors, women, and it's fun, like you say, to somebody from your course who wins a tournament. And the young guys that we've been lucky enough to interview over the years that have gone on to become club pros or play in, contend in major tournaments around Ontario. So yeah, that's been my favorite thing.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just it's a great game, and we had to put it on pause a little bit there for a month or two early in the spring, but we're so fortunate that we've been able to do it during COVID and enjoy, because it's been a good outlet for a lot of people. And so listen, I guess you guys had the Mackenzie Tour there just recently. Our good friend of the show, Rob Leth, looked like he got wet there a little bit, as did everyone. It was a bit of a wet tournament after a pretty dry summer out there. Yeah,
so it was kind of not a weird event, but I mean, they had the full 4-day event at Dunderave Golf Club, and then they took a 2-day break and then had a 3-day event at Brudenell, which is right next door. The facilities are kind of joined. It's all one resort where the players were to stay. The first week was like 40 on the Humidex, not a breath of wind. I mean, it was an oven for the first 2 rounds.
Yeah.
The last 2, the breeze picked up, so at least you had that. And the first time the players saw rain in 13 days was the final round of the Brudenell, and they just got they did split tees first thing in the morning to try to squeeze it in before the big cells came through, but the last 4 holes, I'd say, for everyone was like torrential, like squeegees out trying to get the rounds in. Is just
wow.
Anyway.
Well, they got it through. They got it in, and now that tour's off to Saskatchewan. So, but from what I saw, and I see it every year, the pictures, the videos, the players, the tour personnel absolutely love stopping in the East Coast, whether it be in Charlotte town or whether it be closer to Halifax or out wherever it's stopped over the years. Like, it is a must-play sort of tour stop for these guys, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think Rob did a little, maybe a 5-minute vignette with a bunch of players just talking about it, PEI in general, if it was their first time here, what they were hoping to do during the breaks and stuff. And yeah, for most of them, they'd never been here. So, I mean, the food, the restaurants, the beaches, the tourist attractions, I mean, they had enough time to fill with golf. But I mean, if they were able to squeeze away and get some activities done, I mean, there was no shortage of things I think the players wanted to do. I know last time they were in the East Coast, it was in Oakfield, which is right outside of Halifax.
Yeah.
Which, Halifax and PEI are kind of different. Halifax is, more of a urban city setting, lots of downtown activities. But PEI is really about, the beaches and the local hot spots and the little towns. So from all accounts, I didn't hear bad. Obviously, anyone who's been to PEI typically doesn't have bad things to say about it. So all the players said they maybe a few characters around PEI they could do less, but no, sure. All the players were just raving about everything about PEI. So I believe, and I don't want to spoil any surprises, but I know that they are coming back to PEI guarantee next year for Mackenzie Tour event again. So I think we'll get a full field again, and yeah, the guys love it.
I have to ask you, getting to hang around. We had the Mackenzie Tour here a few years ago. It's a whole new ball game in terms of professionalism and what's going on the course. You really feel when you're inside the ropes, it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, it was awesome. I mean, Scott Pritchard was kind enough to let me and my 2 podcast partners inside the ropes for the week. So we were able to meet the players and talk to them. And I've said this to a couple people this week. There's a big difference between a golf professional and a professional golfer. I mean, yes, these guys were there and wanted to enjoy PEI, but most of them were all business. I mean, they were putting out an 18 and they'd go to the range, and not just to whack balls, but I mean, to put a good practice session in. Or 7 o'clock at night, they're on the putting green with all the gates and the strings and the tees, and they're working and working and working on their games. And I mean, to walk up and down the range and just watch them hit balls, you're just like, okay, this is a different level than, you know, we typically see around here. So
well, some of these guys can strike the ball, whether it be off the tee, off their fairways, as well as a lot of guys that are on the PGA Tour. Because, I mean, they're really just a shot or two or whatever away from that. And the 1 year I mentioned, I was just joking around, playing in the same event as Corey Connors, but you are playing. I mean, it was a pro-am, if you will, for the first 2 days. You are playing in the same group as these guys, and you're watching everything they do. And the biggest difference that I found that is just maybe keeping some of these guys from that next level is putting. The 2 days I played with these guys, like, I don't remember one of my guys that I was playing with, you know, dropping. They never really 3-putted, but they never really 1-putted. They weren't, you know, and I found, because striking the ball, they were fantastic. And that's what I figured out is that that's the biggest thing is perhaps the putting. There's other things, obviously, but they're so good, and they're just a shot away really from being on the PGA Tour. So that's great that you get to experience that on the East Coast. We've talked about this, Carl, before this year about the East Coast. I forget how it came up. I think it was maybe the weekend that Koski went down to back home to Newfoundland. He played some golf down east. And I always thought, Nick, that the East Coast, if the infrastructure was there, because it's such a big production, that they could one day host a Canadian Open. Is that possible, do you think? Or is it just not because it's a friggin' big machine, but the golf courses could. There's a few courses that could actually host, no? As far as the golf is concerned?
Yeah, there would be a few courses that, you know, the things they're looking for. Obviously, you need the length. The tour players can't come out and play 6,500 yards anymore.
Nope.
So there's a few that they could stretch out lengthwise. And I mean, as far as playability, to make it, you know, tough on the players, we don't want, nobody wants the players to come out and shoot 35 under par for 4 rounds.
No.
Infrastructure, like I said, would be the
challenge.
The challenge. I mean, everyone would love to see the Canadian Open go to Cabot Links or Cabot Cliffs, right? Everyone's talked about Cabot, but I mean, you can't bring a production like the Canadian Open to Inverness, Nova Scotia. The town is just not ready for it yet. You know, could they be one day? Sure. I mean, they're putting up hotels and cottages and everything. Every year there's new things going up. But when you talk Canadian Open, you talk fans coming in and all that. I mean, it's a pretty big production, but you know, golf wise, they would be able to find a few homes, but infrastructure wise, I think it'd be tough to get an event that big out here.
I feel like the closest thing they've had to that down there, if I'm not mistaken, pretty high profile Skins game. Did they not?
Crowbush Cove. They've held a couple of those big. They had John Daly and Freddie Couples and them back in the day. They did a Jack Nicklaus type Skins game as well, like almost like a fun event for 4 players. But I mean, you know, there were some fans out and some, you know, a lot of people from PEI, but nothing like you'd have. Nothing like you would have if you had a PGA Tour event.
Well, I can continue to dream, you know. I can continue. I just think the players would love it just because of the hospitality, the different feel. It's got a link style, obviously, look to the courses. Guys like playing those, almost a British Open type of feel, especially if the weather is crappy. But another day for perhaps down the road. Nick, have you ever got a chance to play here in Ontario at all? Have you ever made the trip here to play some golf?
Yeah, actually, I grew up in Burlington.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah. So I wasn't into golf back then. So when I actually got into golf and went back to Burlington, I was 2005, and I was working at Hidden Lake. It's in Burlington, 36 holes up there. So I got to. I was there for 4 years, so I got to play a fair bit of golf up in Ontario. I played Hamilton a couple times, Mississauga. Nothing too. Oh, I played actually a pretty cool story real quickly. They were opening Cobble Beach golf links in.
Is that by Olin Sound, or where's that?
It's up north.
Or Sauble Beach.
Sauble Beach, yeah. So me and my friends were going to Sauble Beach for the weekend, and we were going to meet there Friday afternoon. And I said, well, I might go up Friday morning. So I called the golf professional, said, listen, my name's Nick Fried. I'm a golf professional at Hidden Lake, and I'd love to play Cobble Beach. He's like, we don't open till Monday. I said, oh, okay. I'm like, anyway, I could just tour the course and just see it. He's like, yeah, come on out on Friday morning and we'll see what we can get done. Anyway, I went up Friday morning with my clubs and they let me play it.
Oh, wow.
So I got to play it kind of almost before it opened. I got this inaugural player bag tag thing they gave me on my golf bag, and I just
nicely done.
I just whipped around really quick. I mean, what a course that place is up on the water there. It's
yeah, I've never been up there.
Oh, it's a beauty.
We played
it looks great.
We played Taboo, which is the same kind of terrain, and that's the Mike Weir affiliated club, right? Up in Owen Sound.
Yeah. Well, it's funny, we have a similar story to that. There's a course just outside of Peterborough out towards Keene, Ontario. What is the name of that track, Carl? I haven't been there. Belmere Winds.
Yes.
Belmere Winds. They've made it into a little bit of a cottage community now. Trailer park, if you will. Nice ones, mind you. Built around the golf course. But when it first opened, it was only 9 holes. And then when they opened the second 9, the very first day, Carl and I were invited out, and we were the first one to play actual 18 holes at Belmere Winds. So the joke was that I putted out first in 18, so I held the course record very briefly at about an 88, and then Carl putted in next, and he got me by a couple, so he had the course record with like an 85. Yeah, temporarily until the next group, I'm sure, behind us came in, but we were the first to finish officially 18 there. So we held the course record. Almost sounds like you did too up at Cobble.
Yeah, I got to, and I won't bore you with stories the whole time, but I got another really quick one that's pretty funny. So another opening was the Links of Brunello, is a course in Halifax, and it's I think it's 4 or 5 years old. It is beautiful. It's one of the best ones out here. And I'm really good friends with the superintendent, so he invited me over. And he said, "Do you want to go play?" I said, "But it's not open yet." He's like, "Oh, don't worry about it. I'm the super. I can let you." I'm like, "Okay, sounds good." So I grab my clubs. I go play. I go in the clubhouse after, and all these system pros and the golf pros are all setting up the shop, getting ready for opening day. And I'm telling them about, "Oh man, number 7, that's great up there. That little dog leg. What iron did you hit into there?" I'm going on for like 10 minutes, like a real arsehole about this awesome course I just got to play. And then one guy just stopped. And the one guy just stops me. He's like, "Nick, none of us have got to play it yet." I was like,
oops.
Like foot and mouth. And I'm like, "Chris, you didn't tell me none of those guys got to play yet. They work here." He's like, I just like seeing you go on a rant and making you put your foot in your own mouth. I was like, oh my gosh. So
it's funny.
Yeah, it was really funny.
That's good. You're 2 for 2 on sort of breaking in courses.
I know. No course records, so.
No. Well, there's still time. What kind of, so what are you doing now? What's your full-time gig?
So I was doing some outreach work in the community.
Okay,
with, like a non-for-profit. And then there's a golf club up here that I'm working at, Stanhope. It's up on the North Shore there. Yeah. Really like linksy style feel to it. Pretty wide open off the tee, which suits my driver game. I'm teaching out of there, doing some lessons. I work a couple shifts in the shop, and
nice.
Yeah, it's going well up there, and it's fall now, so.
So you have your pro ticket?
Yeah, I'm a PGA Canada member. I played in, I guess you call it, back in 2005 at Hidden Lake, and I kept it for a lot of years, and then a couple of years ago, I really wasn't teaching. I wasn't working at a golf club, so I gave it up. But then actually we interviewed Lorie Kane for the podcast this year, and she was our first guest ever. Not bad. Hall of Famer. Obviously the Charlottetown connection helped. And so she basically called me out on the podcast and was like, "Why'd you give up golf? Like, why aren't you in the association anymore? You should be teaching and doing all this." I'm like, okay, I'll get back in. So I got back in. I got back in, and I kind of got reinvigorated. I guess the podcast talking about golf.
Sometimes that's what you need, right? Sometimes you need a bit of push. Lorie Kane, we believe, once hit on Carl once, I think, or was very friendly with him at an event. Hey, Carl, like, I don't know, she took a liking to you, but she's great, eh? Like, why don't we see more of her? Like, where's like? she's such a great ambassador for the
Yeah,
sport and for Canada.
Yeah, she's really good. I mean, they just finished the PGA of Canada Women's Championship, and this year the trophy's named after Lorie Kane. This was the first year.
Fantastic.
So yeah, she's doing so much good work out here with junior golf and girls junior golf, and like you said, ambassador is just not even the right word, but I mean she's great here in PEI. There's stories all the time, even when she was in her prime, like winning on the LPGA Tour, of her walking on a driving range to hit balls and just stopping and talking to someone about their swing, being like, yeah, you should probably do this, and like just salt of the earth. So
yeah, we were lucky. We were lucky because we interviewed her maybe once or twice, but her down east attitude comes through.
Yeah,
100%.
Her parents actually, Jack and Marilyn, they were the what do you call it? The tournament chairmans, I guess, of the Mackenzie Tour event. So they brought them out to the event and had them at the trophy presentation and stuff. That was really cool to see. Me and Rob were bumping elbows to see who could get the best picture of them when they were handing them the trophy. So,
oh, it sounds like it was a great event. Ended a little wet, but that's golf sometimes, right? That's the way it goes. Who do you think is going to take today's FedEx? Who's it going to be? Who do you like?
I keep waiting for Cantlay to not play well. I mean,
I hear what you're saying. Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
First round, I'm waiting for him to shoot that even or one over, and then someone else just to shoot that 5 or 6 and kind of and jump him. But I mean, that playoff, he's held it together, and then this whole week he held it together. So I mean, like Uncle Carl said earlier, it looks like a 2-horse race. It doesn't make for the most exciting finish, to be honest with you, for the FedEx Cup when you have 2 guys out to a 5-6 stroke lead. Part of me wishes they all just started even par and it was just a dog fight. Who wins this week? What wins it? But I think Rahm could shoot 4 or 5 today, and Patrick could shoot 1, 2, and either play off it again, or maybe Rahm takes it. But I don't see anybody from below those 2 kind of. East Lake doesn't look like a 64 type golf course. So
it's not.
I'm going to go with Rahm. I think he's going to play pretty well today, 3 or 4 maybe, and then Cantlay he'll jump by 1 or something.
Yeah, I agree. I think Cantlay. I know, Carl, you talked about his putting earlier, and it's been fantastic. It's been great. But sometimes when there's that kind of money on the line, I don't care how professional, how many psychologists you're working with. You start to grip the putter a little tight. Today might be the day where it falls apart a bit, but who knows? We'll see. What are you going to say there, Carl?
No, you make a good point about like you say about the dough, and everybody's got nerves. But I'm going to stick with Cantlay only because of that playoff performance. With he was playing against the guy hitting it the furthest in the world, and I think a lot of guys would. That can be intimidating, but he hit it down the pipe all day, and a hot putter is a hot putter. So because of the putter, I'm gonna stick with Cantlay today.
Okay, all right.
I was talking on our podcast. We touched on it a little bit, but I mean, those drives, those 2 hitting the playoffs were within a hula hoop of each other. I mean,
amazing.
All 4 drives on 18. I think Bryson had within 1 or 2 yards distance into the hole, and so did Cantlay. It was just like the robot demo guy on the range where he just and then
cart golf.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Last question for you, Fridler. Had to ask you about your birdie remix. What's that all about? What's the birdie remix?
Big Booty remix.
Oh, okay. Well, it must have been a typo. Big Booty came out as birdie remix. Okay.
So
typo on Rob's part.
Yeah. So we play in a winter golf league at a friend's house. He's got a TrackMan set up in his basement, like nice lounge area.
Yeah.
And we all know nowadays, I mean, music is pretty popular on the golf course. If you go into, I would say 1 out of every 2-3 groups has a little speaker playing, and just nothing loud, obnoxious, but I mean enough that you can hear it. It kind of that's the way golf's going right now.
Yeah.
So I'd never played with music, and then we were playing in his basement, and this remix came on, and it was like an hour of all the songs but maybe 30-second snippets, and then jumps to another one.
Yeah.
and I got hooked. So yeah, there's 19 episodes, and they're an hour and a half long each. So I got like 26 hours of content. And as soon as I go to the first tee, Big Booty remix, press play. Rob made me turn it off after a hole and a half. It wasn't his. It wasn't his style.
He's a rock guy, right?
Yeah. So I had to switch it back to something a little more tame for him. But if you look it up, it'll get the juices flowing. Where
do I find it? iTunes or Spotify or
Spotify and SoundCloud.
Okay.
I use it to clean the house. I use it to go to the gym. I mean, this thing's preloaded and it's playing all the time.
I hope there's some Canadian content in there.
Oh yeah, there's a bunch of Canadian content. But, I mean, I can't listen to music now when you have the whole song's like 3.5 minutes. After like 45 seconds, I'm like, okay, what's the next song? So kind of.
A Downeaster, Alan Doyle, a week ago at the amphitheater, and he put on a great opening show, and Canadians love their Down East music. I can tell you that, even in Toronto. And
Alan Doyle loves his golf too.
That's right. Yeah.
Big golf guy.
I actually didn't know that.
Hockey. Yeah, he likes it all. Pretty cool. Yeah. Who's the biggest celebrity you've played with there, Fridler?
Ooh.
Non-golf. Like, you can't say like a golfer per se, but like,
yeah.
Well, you can, I guess, if you want, but that'd be boring.
Yeah.
Well, unless it was Tiger Woods.
Yeah, that'd be good.
No celebrities really. I mean, we have a bunch.
How about you, Pete?
Yeah. Anybody good?
Who's your big one, Pete? Celebrity.
That I've golfed with? Well, I played with he's a golfer, but like it's at some of these media events. Like I golfed with Gary Cowan once, great amateur player, one of the best ever play. And I remember it was a scramble, of course, and I got my ball on. There was like a par 3 or something. I got it on the green, and I'm like, well, at least we'll get our par for sure. And he looked at me like I was crazy. He goes, par. He's like, you got to think birdie every single time. I'm like, yeah, you're right. I mean, I remember that. But one of my coolest golf moments, I was covering the Bobby Orr golf tournament in Oshawa, sort of the celebrity tournament. And he was on a tee. He didn't play. He just was on one of the par 3s hitting balls as every group came through. And I got to hang out there for about an hour, and I'm a huge Bobby Orr Boston Bruins fan. And the stories that I just overheard, and with some of the other celebrities that were coming through, that was pretty fun. Didn't actually play with them, but felt like I was sort of playing with them. But I don't know, Carl, who's your biggest celebrity you've played golf with?
I guess for me it'd be always musicians. So the Tom Cochran 18 holes one day down in Port Hope, that was fun, and he can obviously hit the ball. He's scratch. And then I've been lucky enough to play with Gord Sinclair and Paul Langlois at Cataraqui a few times over in
Kingston.
The day. Yeah,
nice. So a couple good name drops there.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. To Pete's point there, like I haven't played with celebrities, so to speak, but it's really cool to look back and see the golfers that I've played with who maybe were a junior back then, or nobody knew about them, and now they're on the PGA Tour, or they're making their way up. They're making their way up, and I just recently played in the Pro-Am with Blair Bursey from Newfoundland, and we just had him on the podcast. He's the first ever Newfoundlander to get an NCAA Division I scholarship, and so he's playing on the Mackenzie Tour now. Yeah, he's playing on the Mackenzie Tour now, and I mean, this guy, he's uber focused. So it'll be fun to see in the next couple of years where he goes to, and then you're like, yeah, we played with him, and he was great to play with and very humble about it. But that's what I like, is when you see them move up the ranks, you're like, all right, that you kind of start to cheer for them from now on.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very similar to, a junior hockey player coming through Peterborough, and you kind of get to know them at 15, 16, and then you can follow them through your career, and you always cheer for them, except for the odd goof, you're like, yeah. But no, for the most part, you always kind of like,
no names.
Yeah,
no
names. Hey, we got to take a quick break, and then we'll let you go. Nick, I just want to show you this, because this stuff is heading to the East Coast, and this might be a good podcast feature for you someday. Not that I'm trying to tell you what to do, but
Hey.
after 30 episodes, you're always looking for ideas. So
Oh.
we'll tell you the story about this when we come back, but we'll watch this video first.
All right.
There you go, a little Sandbagger. So Sandbagger is a drink that was introduced kind of almost at the start of COVID, but started right here in Peterborough. And the story is, I don't know if you guys drink Sandbagger drink, Nick, out east. It's basically a gin with kind of a Sprite or a lime sort of element to it. I don't know if it's a thing out there or not.
I haven't seen Sandbagger, like that brand in particular, but I mean, I'm sure you guys have seen this. I mean, we have a lot of those microbreweries popping up like crazy out east.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the seltzers are big right now. It looks like Uncle Carl's weather just turned and he could use a seltzer right now. He's got the heat just begging on him here.
What happened there?
I had to peel a jacket off. It was cool when I started. Now I'm baking.
Yes. Okay. I got to get outside. But the Sandbagger, yeah, it's a drink that a lot of golf courses, at least in our area, have served up over the years. It's associated with golf, and it was kind of started by a guy named Bill Rowan, who trademarked the name years ago. And Bill passed away 3 years ago. But his son Jay, who's been in the sort of the food and drink business, for years, thought, you know what, I'm going to take this and make it happen. So they came up with a recipe, the really cool can, as you saw, which actually has a little bit of a sand feel to it. It's kind of cool, little grit to it. And it's very successful here in Ontario. They're out in Alberta now, and I think they're soon to be out on the East Coast. So stay tuned for that. But it's a really cool story how Jay kind of honored his dad, how it all started at the Kawartha Golf Club here in Peterborough, and how it's just it's everywhere now at every golf course pretty much in Ontario. So Sandbagger, hard seltzer. Check it out, folks. Tell everyone out east.
It looks good, and I'm sure there's a few members at everybody's golf club they'd love to give a couple to as a little jab.
Yes. We all, again, no names, but there's a look there. That was at the Crime Stoppers tournament on Thursday. We had a few Sandbaggers there, the gang from PTBO Canada, and they're the perfect sort of golf drink if you're looking for something new. Anyway, Nick, we appreciate your time. I know it's Sunday mornings can be family time, of course, or whatever. So to take the time away for 45 minutes or so, we appreciate it. And whenever you're back home here in Ontario, perhaps we can get up to Cobble Beach or Burlington. I've never played Burlington before. I understand that's a great golf club as well. So,
it's beautiful, old school parkland style, right in the heart of Burlington. Tight tree line fairways, just nice track.
Well, hopefully we can come visit you and play the East Coast, Pete. We need to.
Well, that would be
on the Links road tour.
That'd be good. I've only really played once out east, and now I'm all about quality over quantity sometimes. But I played Fox Harbor in 2006, and similar to you, your one story, I was one of only 6 people to play it that day. It was bizarre. Kind of crazy, but a treat for sure. So I wouldn't mind getting back there one day too. But
I do have a question before we let Nick go.
Yeah,
and maybe I'll just use it to wrap up another little segment. We were talking about local hole-in-ones. So my home course, Pinecrest, down on the old Keene Road, we had 2 hole-in-ones this week. Wayne Dragonmeyer, a longtime member, playing with his son, and John Curry from Curry Tire, both aced number 13, par 3, 130 some odd yards, where I also had my first hole-in-one 10 some years ago. But then we had an unusual one. We had an albatross on hole number 1. It's a short par 4 dog leg.
Yep.
And a guy aced it yesterday for the albatross. So, pretty big. But here's my question. In this day of long hitters, I mean, it could happen. But what would you call somebody that jars their first shot on a par 5? Is there
Amazing.
a name for that? Well, I know, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's unlikely, but what would be the name? We know that an albatross, you know, on a par 4 is, you know, sinking in 1, but is there a name for some, you know, somewhere now we got guys hitting it 450 and it bounces in the hole.
Or if Bryson cuts that corner at Bay Hill, is that the one where
That's kind of my point.
he got it in the greenside bunker there? So I mean,
you know,
possible.
So my question is there a name for a hole in one on a par 5? And if not, maybe we should come up with one.
Is it?
Well, we'll leave it with you, Carl.
Some kind of bird, maybe. Obviously, they're birdie, eagle, a falcon.
Yeah. A golden falcon.
That'd be easier to say for sure. I don't know. But hey, anything's possible. I mean, and congratulations to so the guy that had the hole in one was Tyler Hines.
He was playing in the group ahead of me.
Come on.
Yeah, we were in the group behind, and I remember hearing I heard something down on the tee. It's around the corner, but I never even thought about it. But I will say I don't know that fella, but on the 18th tee as we were waiting, I saw the same guy put 2 in the pond. So, you know.
Well, yes, like a hole in one on that par 4. I mean, it's an accomplishment, but that'd be a little bit of a fluke in a way. Like, I mean, you can't even see the green. I mean, that being said, I mean, back in my younger days, I could hit that green, like, but by no means is it a hole where you're like, oh, where's the pin there? I'm gonna play like you faded around the trees and hope for the best. Like, but good for him. I think that's an amazing accomplishment. That's awesome. Really. So I've never even had a hole in one, let alone one on a par 4. So good on him. That's awesome. Nick, thanks for your time, pal. We appreciate it. And hopefully we'll see you in person one day, and we'll get the playlist going. All right.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you having me on, and enjoy the rest of the golf season.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's still lots of time left, I'd say, for sure.
Go get that double falcon.
Yes.
Go get that golden falcon.
Golden falcon.
The Friddler, everyone.
See you, boys.
Appreciate it. All right. Cheers. Well, that was fun. I love talking East Coast, and I got my East Coast lifestyle hat on here today. You're rocking the Pete's hat.
And my Hawk shirt.
Well, maybe we call it the Hawk. If someone gets a hole in one on a par 5, we call it after Ronnie Hawkins, the Hawk.
The rockin' Hawk. Yeah, I like it. I had a little visit. A little visit with the Hawk this week, Pete. Watched a little bit of boxing with him, and he's doing well. I sent you a link to a video that the Weber brothers submitted. Yeah, and it was part of a carkaraoke.ca, which is a fundraiser for stem cell research. And we met Ross and Cheryl at Wildfire a few weeks ago, and Ross, has donated the McEwen Heart Center in Toronto. Amazing work with stem cells, and the Weber brothers submitted that video, a tribute to the Hawk, and it's a version of "Who Do You Love." It's quite classic, so make sure you check that out, Pete. That was fun.
Yeah, I got it now. I just don't know if I can get it up on screen here.
No worries.
Today.
Maybe we can just put a link or something. But Glenn Stonehouse, our friend out at Wildfire, makes a great cameo at the end of the video. And there's his dog, his lab, wearing his Hawk hat. That's good, eh?
Everyone's a Ronnie Hawkins fan.
Yeah, it's hard not to be.
That's awesome.
So, Pete, one more little piece of business. The Peterborough City and District Championships go next week. First round at Pinecrest. All the best golfers in the city will convene there next Saturday. And I believe round 2 on the Sunday will be at, I'm going to hate myself.
I think it's at Left Lock, I heard.
I think they changed the venue. That's what I'm not sure.
Did they change it? Oh, okay.
No, I'm not 100% sure. I thought it was at one venue and has moved, but I'll have to check on that. But so that'll be decided next week. You're not on that Peterborough team, are you?
No, I didn't make the squad. No,
Me neither, right?
No.
Maybe next year, buddy.
One day. No, it's all good. Let's see. We got our buddy Jody Jenkins on watching. I will rematch against you two. He wants a rematch.
Well,
down in Belleville.
As long as he doesn't wear Bermuda shorts in September.
Well, he might. He says he'll travel to Peterborough. All right, let's do that, Jody. Let's get together and tee it up here this fall. Because as I say, I think there's still lots of golf left to be played. September is one of the best months to play golf. October, first week, not bad. Absolutely. Hopefully a good fall this year. And yeah, that'd be great. We'll take Jody on. Play for a pop. Yeah. We'll play for a Sandbagger.
Yeah. Were you down to the maroon and white?
Yeah, I was. Yesterday? Yeah. I went to the Pete's. Broadcast it actually. First broadcast Pete's game I've done since March of 2020. My lineup was still there from a game against Hamilton in March 5th, I think it was, or something. Right. Nothing changed. It was weird.
Did you see any of the draft picks jump out at you yesterday? Or
I'll tell you what, and they signed him too. But a kid from Hawkesbury area named Samuel Mae. Really thick French accent, big player. He's about 6'2", 205 pounds, delivered 3 big open ice hits in the maroon and white game, and they signed him right on the dotted line. He was their first round pick in the under 18 draft, so a bit of a late bloomer, if you will. So he's already sort of 17, 18 already, so he's ready to go. And watch for him tomorrow against Ottawa in the first exhibition game of the season. So, yeah, I really liked him. Yeah.
Awesome. I'm excited.
Reminded me of a young Luke Richardson.
Wow.
That's physical, can move the puck, can score.
High praise indeed.
Indeed.
Awesome.
Just quickly, another shout out to the Crime Stoppers tournament. Keith Calderwood, I've never seen a golf tournament, Carl, charity tournament with so many sponsor signs. I mean,
yeah, they do it up. They do it up really well.
Unbelievable. And this was the coolest. This is from Curtis and everyone from Card the Yard. And that was kind of like in behind a par 3 out there at the quarry. It actually looks better in person than in the photo. There was 2 or 3 of those at the tournament in behind the holes with different sayings and stuff like that on the par 3. So it was kind of added to the event. It was kind of neat, and raised a lot of money for Crime Stoppers. We gotta fight crime, man.
Yeah, fight the crime. I wouldn't wear my hat today if I had known, because I've driven people out there for the tournament the last couple of years. I didn't even realize it went down, but I know it's well attended and they raise lots of awareness and money. So, job well done.
Time to get some new grips for fall golf, everyone. Tony still has that great deal. Get 13 Royal Link Tech grips installed for only $97. I got the red installed. I think, Carl, you may go with, I think you look good in blue grips. Mix them up. Why not? Like, get your wedges done in red, your irons done in blue, and then your driver done in black, maybe. Mix them up. Why not?
Beautiful.
Let's do it. Again, congratulations to one of our sponsors, Dion Jamidi, #1.
Well done.
He brings us our leaderboard, and he is leading the board right there with some other fine folks. I see Davey Carter on there. Davey's been on that list probably more than anyone. Billy Smith, you know Billy?
Oh, yeah.
He's a classic. Is he a Pinecrest guy or not? I don't know.
No, but I've seen him down there, but I think he's a Kawartha guy. Pretty sure.
Is he now? Yeah, probably. Yeah. Well, you make all those sales, eh? You can afford the semi-private clubs.
That's for sure.
But that's great. So that's going to do it again. Thanks to Nick. There's the podcast, the Island Green podcast. Download it. He'll keep you up to date on what's going on the East Coast. All right, Carl, you have a great day. See, the sun is out, so maybe time for some golf. We'll talk to you next week. Okay,
buddy. Keep rocking.
Thanks for watching on the links, everyone. Ciao for now.